Today, we need to talk about something that's been keeping me up at night. Starting January 2026, there are new airport rules specifically affecting travelers over 70, and I'm seeing seniors getting turned away at the gate because nobody warned them. Nobody. And that breaks my heart because these are preventable situations. You might be thinking, I've been flying for decades, I know what I'm doing. And you're right. You probably do. But here's the thing. The rules changed, not just little tweaks. We're talking about documentation requirements, security procedures, and boarding policies that are completely different from what you experienced even 2 years ago. And if you show up unprepared, you could be denied boarding. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you didn't know about rules that weren't even announced properly. This isn't just theory. This is real-world knowledge from someone who will personally hand you that extra blanket. Who's seen what happens when passengers don't know their rights? Just last month, I watched a 73-year-old gentleman miss his daughter's wedding because his ID didn't meet the new federal requirements. He had no idea the ticket agent had no flexibility and that flight took off without him. I don't want that to be you. If you want more practical travel secrets straight from the galley, please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button right now and tell me in the comments, are you over 70 or are you helping a senior traveler prepare for an upcoming flight? I read every single comment and build my videos based on what you want to know. All right, let's dive in. I'm going to share 11 critical things you need to know before you step foot in that airport in 2026. These aren't suggestions. These are requirements. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to handle each one. Let's start with the one that's catching the most people off guard. Part 1, Pre-flight and Documentation. And number 1, the new Real ID deadline reality check. Here's what's happening. As of May 7th, 2025, you cannot board a domestic flight with a standard driver's license anymore. It must be a Real ID compliant license. And here's the kicker. Many seniors renewed their licenses years ago and have no idea whether theirs is compliant or not. From my experience in the galley, I've seen this confusion cause more gate delays than weather. Passengers arrive with a license they've had for 8 years, and suddenly they're told it's not valid for air travel. The stress, the panic, the missed flights. It's heartbreaking. Here's what you need to do right now. Take out your driver's license. Look at the top right corner. Do you see a star inside a circle or a star inside a cutout of your state? That's the Real ID marker. If you don't see that star, your license will not get you through TSA starting May 2025. Period. Now, if your license isn't compliant, don't panic, you have options. You can use a valid U.S. passport or passport card instead. These are always acceptable. But if you don't have a passport and your license isn't Real ID compliant, you need to visit your DMV now. Not next month now. Because appointments are already booking out weeks in advance as the deadline approaches. I once had a passenger named Margaret, 76 years old, traveling to see her first great-grandchild. She got to the airport 3 hours early, did everything right, and was turned away at security because her license didn't have that star. She didn't know. Nobody told her. She missed that flight and had to reschedule, costing her hundreds of dollars and missing the baby's first day home. Don't be Margaret. Check your ID today. Number 2, medical documentation you actually need, not what you think. Let me clear up some major confusion. You do not need a doctor's note just because you're over 70. That's a myth. Airlines cannot discriminate based on age alone. However, there are specific medical situations where documentation is now required and the rules tightened in late 2025. Here's the insider truth. If you require supplemental oxygen, use a wheelchair for mobility beyond standard airport distances, or have a condition that might require medical attention during flight, you need to complete a medical clearance form 48 to 72 hours before departure. This is new. It used to be more flexible. The form is called a MAID Medical Information Form, and not every airline calls it the same thing. Delta calls it a Special Service Request. United calls it Accessible Travel Services. American calls it Special Assistance, but they all want the same information. A doctor's signature confirming you're fit to fly. Here's what you need to say when you call the airline. I need to submit medical clearance documentation for my upcoming flight. Can you email me the required form? They will send it. Get your doctor to complete it. Submit it at least 48 hours before your flight. This is not optional. Without it, the gate agent can deny you boarding if they believe you might have a medical emergency in flight. Now, if you're healthy and flying without any medical equipment or assistance, you don't need this. But if you have any doubt, maybe you use a cane, maybe you have a heart condition, call the airline. It's better to have documentation you don't need than to need documentation you don't have. Trust me on this one. Number 3, prescription medication rules that changed. This one catches people off guard all the time. As of 2026, TSA has stricter rules about prescription medications, especially liquids and controlled substances. Here's what most seniors don't know. Your pills need to be in their original prescription bottles, not a pill organizer, not a Ziploc seed bag, the original pharmacy bottle with your name, the prescribing doctor, and the medication name clearly labeled. If you're traveling with a week's worth of pills in one of those daily organizers, TSA can confiscate them. I know that's inconvenient, but here's why it matters. TSA needs to verify that the medication belongs to you and is legal. Without that prescription label, they have no way to confirm it, and with increased security around opioids and controlled substances, they're not taking chances anymore. Here's what you do. Before you pack, separate out the pills you need for your trip and ask your pharmacist for a duplicate labeled bottle. Mosties will do this for free if you explain you're traveling. Keep that bottle in your carry-on, never in checked luggage. Checked bags get lost. Your heart medication cannot get lost. For liquids, things like insulin or liquid antibiotics, you're allowed to bring more than the standard 3.40, but you must declare them at the security checkpoint. Don't just throw them in your bag and hope they don't notice. Walk up to the TSA officer and say, "I have medically necessary liquids in my bag that exceed 340. They'll pull your bag aside and test the liquids. It takes an extra 2 minutes. That's it. One more thing. If you use injectable medications like insulin or EpiPens, carry a copy of your prescription or a doctor's note. It's not legally required, but it makes the process so much smoother." I've seen passengers get held up for 20 minutes because TSA wasn't sure about their insulin pens. A simple prescription printout solves that instantly. Part 2. At the airport, security and boarding number 4, TSA pre-check for seniors, the free alternative nobody mentions. Everyone talks about TSA pre-check, and yes, it's fantastic. You keep your shoes on, your belt on, your laptop stays in your bag. It's a dream. But did you know that travelers 75 and older get to keep their shoes and light jackets on even in the regular TSA line? This is a little-known TSA accommodation that started in 2023, and most seniors have no idea about it. You don't need to pay for pre-check to get some of the benefits. If you're 75 or older, you can leave your shoes on during standard screening. You still have to remove your belt if it has a large buckle, but the shoes, nope, keep them on. Here's what you do. When you get to the security line, tell the TSA officer, "I'm 75 and I'd like to keep my shoes on." They'll direct you through. That's it. It's your right. It's official TSA policy. Use it. Now, if you're under 75 but over 70 and you're thinking, "What about me?" Here's my crew secret. Get TSA pre-check. It's $78 for 5 years, which breaks down to about $50 per year. That's less than one checked bag fee. And the time and stress you save? Priceless. You can apply online. Schedule an appointment at an enrollment center and you'll have it within 2 to 3 weeks. But here's the insider tip nobody tells you. If you have certain credit cards, they reimburse the TSA pre-check fee. Cards like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, Capital One Venture, or even some American Express cards cover it completely. Check your credit card benefits before you pay out of pocket. You might already have this covered and not even know it. Number 5. The pre-boarding rights they don't announce. All right, this is a big one. Airlines are required by federal law to allow passengers who need extra time or assistance to board before general boarding begins. This includes seniors. But here's the problem. They don't always announce it clearly, and many seniors feel embarrassed to ask. Let me tell you something from 15 years in the galley. We want you to pre-board. We would much rather have you settled in your seat before the chaos of general boarding than have you struggling down the aisle with 200 people behind you. It's safer for you, it's easier for us, and it keeps the boarding process moving smoothly. Here's what qualifies you for pre-boarding. If you need extra time to get settled, if you need to store a mobility device, if you have difficulty walking long distances, or if you simply feel more comfortable boarding early, you qualify. Age alone doesn't automatically qualify you, but needing extra time does. And let's be honest, many of us over 70 do need that extra time. Here's exactly what you say at the gate. I'd like to request pre-boarding because I need extra time to get settled. That's it. You don't need to justify it. You don't need a doctor's note. You don't need to feel guilty. The gate agent will allow you to board during the pre-boarding phase, which happens right after active military and families with small children. Now, some airlines call this priority boarding or courtesy boarding, but it's all the same thing. You board early. No extra charge. It's free. It's your right. I once had a lovely couple in their early 70s who didn't know to ask. They waited until their boarding group was called, and the husband was using a cane. By the time they got down the aisle, he was exhausted and nearly fell trying to lift their carry-on. If they had pre-boarded, I would have been there to help them with no rush, no crowd, no stress. Please, my wonderful seniors, ask for pre-boarding. We're here to help you. Number 6. New mobility device screening procedures. If you use a cane, walker, wheelchair, or any mobility device, TSA updated their screening procedures in 2025, and you need to know what to expect so you're not caught off guard. Here's what changed. TSA now uses advanced screening technology for mobility devices, which means your device might go through a separate scanner or get swabbed for explosives. This is standard procedure. It's not personal. They're not singling you out. But if you don't know it's coming, it can feel invasive and frustrating. Here's the process. When you arrive at security, tell the TSA officer, I use a mobility device and need assistance. They will direct you to a separate lane where they can accommodate you. Your device will be inspected either by hand or through a scanner, and you'll be asked to walk through the metal detector or receive a pat-down if you can't walk through. Now, if you cannot stand or walk through the metal detector, you can request to remain seated in your wheelchair. TSA will conduct a pat-down screening while you're seated. This is allowed. This is your right. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Here's the magic phrase. I need to remain seated for screening due to mobility limitations. They will accommodate you. If they give you any pushback, ask to speak with a TSA supervisor. Supervisors are trained on these accommodations and will make sure you're treated properly. One more insider tip. If you're traveling with a collapsible wheelchair or walker, collapse it before you get to security. It makes the screening process faster because it can go through the X-ray belt more easily. If you need help collapsing it, ask a TSA officer or airline employee. They'll help you. Part 3. Accessibility and Special Services. Number 7. Wheelchair assistance. When to request earlier than you think. This is critical. If you need wheelchair assistance at the airport, you must request it when you book your ticket or at least 48 hours before your flight, not when you get to the airport, not at check-in, 48 hours in advance. Here's why this matters. Airlines contract with third-party companies to provide wheelchair services, and those companies staff based on advance requests. If you show up at the airport needing a wheelchair and you didn't pre-air request it, you might wait 30 minutes or more for someone to become available. I've seen seniors miss flights because they waited too long for wheelchair assistance that should have been pre-arranged. Here's what you do when you book your ticket online. Look for a section called Special Services or Accessibility Requests. Check the box for wheelchair assistance. If you're booking by phone, tell the agent, I need wheelchair assistance from check-in to the gate and from the gate to baggage claim on arrival. Be specific. They need to know exactly where you need help. If you already booked your ticket and didn't request it, call the airline now. Say, I have a flight on date and I need to add wheelchair assistance to my reservation. They'll update it in the system. Now here's the insider truth. Wheelchair assistance is free on all U.S. airlines. Free. It's part of the Air Carrier Access Act. You don't tip the wheelchair attendant, though many passengers do because they're grateful for the help, but you don't have to. The service is free, and you should never feel like you're imposing. From my experience on the galley, I can tell you that we'd much rather you request a wheelchair than try to tough it out and risk falling or exhausting yourself. Airports are huge. Gates are far. You're allowed to ask for help. You've earned it. Number 8. The invisible disability. Accommodations. Not all disabilities are visible. Maybe you have chronic pain, arthritis, breathing issues, anxiety in crowds, or cognitive challenges. These are real conditions that affect your ability to navigate an airport comfortably. And you are entitled to accommodations even if you don't look disabled. Here's what airlines don't advertise. You can request extra time, priority seating, escort services, or other accommodations even without a visible mobility device. The Air Carrier Access Act protects you, but you have to speak up because gate agents and crew can't read minds. Here's what you say. I have a disability that's not immediately visible and I need specific accommodation. For example, I have severe arthritis and I need to pre-board so I can store my bag without rushing. Or I have anxiety in crowded spaces and I need assistance navigating security. Airlines are required to provide reasonable accommodations. Reasonable means it doesn't fundamentally change the flight operation. Pre-boarding, reasonable extra time. Reasonable. Requesting a specific seat near the bathroom because you have a medical condition. Reasonable. Asking to sit in an exit row without meeting the requirements. Not reasonable. Bonus tip. Before we wrap up, if you're finding this helpful and you want to make sure you never miss an insider secret that could save your next trip, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, do it because I've got so many more tips coming your way. All right, let's do a quick recap of what we covered today. We talked about the Real ID deadline and making sure your license has that star. We covered medical documentation, prescription medication rules, and how TSA PreCheck works for seniors. We went through pre-boarding rights, mobility device screening, and when to request wheelchair assistance. We discussed invisible disability accommodations, companion care seating rules, and how to travel with oxygen or CPAP machines. And finally, we covered connecting flight protection with that meet and assist service. That's 11 things that could mean the difference between a smooth trip and a nightmare at the airport. Bonus tip. Before I let you go, here's one more insider tip that flight attendants wish more passengers knew. If you're over 70 and traveling alone, tell your flight attendant during boarding. Just a simple, "Hi, I'm traveling alone today and I wanted to let you know in case I need assistance." Why does this matter? Because if there's turbulence, if there's an emergency, if you need help reaching the bathroom or retrieving your bag, we already know to check on you. We're not going to hover or treat you like a child, but we'll keep an eye out. And trust me, in 15 years, I've seen situations where that simple heads up made all the difference. You are the reason we fly. Your comfort and safety are what matter most. Don't be afraid to speak up, ask questions, and advocate for yourself. The crew is there to help you. These accommodations exist because you deserve them. You've earned them. Use them. Now, I want to hear from you. What's your biggest concern about flying as a senior traveler? Is it the security lines, the long walks through the airport, medical equipment? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one, and your questions help me create content that actually serves you. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a senior traveler in your life who needs this information. Send it to your parents, your grandparents, your neighbor who's planning a trip. This information could save someone's vacation or even prevent a serious injury. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an insider secret. I've got videos coming up on how to get free upgrades, what to do if your flight gets canceled, and the crew secrets airlines don't want you to know. Thank you so much for flying with me today. I'm US Movin' Money. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next.